Hey everybody, I'm Grandmaster Kostya Kavutskiy, and today I'll be doing a follow-up to a video that was released on Chess.com's YouTube channel a few years ago called Calculate Like a Grandmaster, where I discussed the different calculation techniques that Grandmasters use in their chess games. So since that video was really well received, I wanted to do another video today about blundering in chess. Now obviously we never want or expect to blunder in our chess games, right? But every player, regardless of their level, is going to blunder occasionally, at least from time to time. So in light of that, I wanted to share some techniques with you guys today. So in the event that you do blunder in one of your games, you'll be prepared and know how to properly react to that situation and maximize your chances from there. Now, first things first, as soon as you make your move, if you realize it's a blunder, let's say you've hung your queen, for example, try not to panic. Try to remain calm. Don't make any sudden movements or get sweaty. Just try not to tip off your opponent that anything has gone wrong, because maybe they won't see that you blundered. But now let's say they do see that you've blundered. What should you do? Well, depending on your playing style as a chess player and your overall character as a person, one or more of these techniques may appeal to you. So the first option I want to recommend here is for those players that might get embarrassed when they blundered because they don't want to look dumb or stupid at the chessboard. And if this is the case, here's what I think you need to do. After you've made your move and it's a blunder and your opponent has made the response, for example, forking your king and queen, what you need to do is immediately reach out with your hand and pretend like you're about to move a piece. And what you're doing is you're showing your opponent that you had this all planned ahead of time. You expected his move, and you got your response ready to go. But don't actually move the piece. Just reach out with your hand and hover, because obviously you don't really have a good move at this point. So hover with your hand and then look off to the side and into the distance and maybe up. And for this part, you need to look very smart and contemplative. So then look back at the board, and maybe down, back at the board, and reach your hand back. So this is what real chess players look like when they're calculating, and that's what you're going to be pretending to do. So the point of all this is that you're kind of conveying the message that you were calculating 5-10 moves deep, saw something you didn't like in one of the variations, and now you need to recheck everything, you need to recalculate. And this will give you some time to compose yourself and avoid looking like you blundered. So the next option is for players who aren't necessarily worried about looking embarrassed, but on the contrary, actually really enjoy having all the attention being placed on them. And what you're going to do for this next technique is, as soon as your opponent has made the move that basically gives you a losing position and takes advantage of your blunder, you need to have a very extreme, very public mental breakdown. I mean, really go for it. And you're going to be acting here. You're going to be doing a lot of acting, but you need to look as frustrated and as miserable as possible. And the point of this is to distract your opponent from the chess game. So this is especially effective in case there are any tricks or hidden resources left in the position, because if everyone's paying attention to you, then maybe your opponent won't miss these rare counter chances that you might have, and you might be able to get back into the game.
Now, I'd like to demonstrate this technique for you guys, but since I'm just a FIDE master, I obviously can't do it as well as some of today's top grandmasters. But instead, take a look at some of these clips. These are all taken from real chess tournaments featuring some of the best chess players in the world utilizing this technique of dealing with their blunders. Check it out.
Okay, so you get the idea. Basically, you're going to have an existential crisis at the board. To break it down a little bit, a lot of head shaking, a lot of sighing and moaning. You can smack the table, lean back in your chair. One trick I like to do is I like to hold on to the bridge of my nose while I'm shaking my head, because otherwise your neck is going to be doing all the work, and that's bad for your spine. I mean, you really don't want that. So I like to hold on to the bridge there, and I'm able to shake my head for a good 45-55 seconds at a time. So it's really nice. And with any luck, your opponent will be distracted for the rest of the game and you might be able to bounce back. Of course, definitely continue playing very quickly and bang the clock. Anything you can do to continue distracting your opponent. Now this last technique is for online chess. Obviously in online chess, there's no body language. Your opponent can't see you. So what should you do? Well, you really only have one form of recourse. Let's say you're playing a blitz game on Chess.com and you blunder your rook. The game is basically lost. All you can really do at this point is to utilize the chat function and let your opponent know in one way or another just how lucky they were that you blundered. You can do this either through implication or by directly stating that they were lucky. That's what I like to do. I just write the word lucky out and I hit enter, and that really gets the message across. Some players really like so lucky to really emphasize the point. Wow, so lucky is another big one, with the word wow being in all caps. Different grandmasters have their own spin on this technique. They like to do it in different ways, but as long as your opponent and all the spectators in the room who are watching the game online know that your opponent was lucky, I think you're in good shape. If you really want to take things up a notch, resign the game, start the next game, and play something absolutely crazy like f2, f3, king f2, king g3, king h3, and try to win the game from there. Because if you can win the game after making such a ridiculous opening, that'll really prove your superiority as a chess player and as a person. And it'll show that the previous game where you blundered was just a total fluke. So I hope these techniques today were useful for you guys and that you'll be able to utilize them in your future chess games. If you have your own techniques regarding dealing with blunders, please feel free to let me know in the comments section below. And otherwise, this has been FIDE Master Kostya Kavutskiy, and until next time, please take care.